Hi everybody, and welcome to Everyday Manna. Today we are going to make some very light, refreshing, easy meals that you could make for breakfast, you could make for lunch, you could make for a brunch, or even a light dinner. These are so easy and so delicious. So we're going to get started with a Mexican quiche. Now this is a crustless quiche that just bakes in the oven. You can totally put it together the night before and then pop it in the oven in 30 minutes. You've got a wonderful little breakfast. So let's get started on that. Now I have my oven preheated. Pardon my voice, I'm dealing with allergies again. I have my oven preheated to 400 degrees because I'm baking two things. If you're not baking two things like I am, go with 375, but it's okay to bump it up just a little bit. Now I have here just the original recipe. I use a pie pan, but you know, sometimes I just want to mix it up and just use a pretty little casserole dish. So that's what I'm doing today, and I am going to spray it with some non-stick cooking spray. In my bowl, I have 8 eggs, just large eggs. To that, I'm going to add half a cup of butter that I have melted. We're going to add 1 4-ounce can of just diced green chilies. You could use the jalapenos if you wanted. They sell the chopped jalapenos in that smaller container too. Then you want 2 cups of cottage cheese. All right. Now, before I add the rest, I'm going to just mix this together. I like to take a whisk. I like to break the yolks first. I find they whisk a little easier if you do that. Just whisk all of that together to get it all incorporated and your eggs broken. This is a delicious meal. You could serve this with jalapeno cornbread if you wanted to and have a light supper or a side salad, whatever you wanted. All right, to that mixture we're going to add a pinch, in my case probably about 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper because I like spicy. If you don't, you can leave that out. Some salt and some pepper and 2 tablespoons of flour. Now the flour is going to help to thicken it up a little bit and set the eggs a little firmer. And then I'm going to add about a cup of just some shredded Colby Monterey Jack. Mine is Colby Jack, but you could use cheddar, you could use Swiss, you could use any kind of cheese that you like. Whatever you want is fine. This recipe is one of those that, you know, it's very interchangeable. If you wanted to add maybe a little bit of cumin to bump up that Mexican flavor, you could do that too. You could add a little bit of oregano, dried oregano. Mexican oregano is used extensively in Mexican cooking. We think of oregano as being an Italian spice, and it is, or an herb. It's not a spice, it's an herb. In case you don't know the difference, herbs have leaves, spices are the seed pods. And oregano obviously is a leaf. And that's one of those herbs that I honestly prefer dried more than fresh. I find it a little strong fresh. I mean, I do use it sometimes, but I prefer it to be dried. And then just pour this into your casserole dish. And if you wanted to make this the night before, you could. And then just pop it in the oven, the preheated oven. But it couldn't be simpler. I mean, that's it. That's all you got to do right there. Easy, everyday ingredients. And you've got something different and something delicious for your breakfast if that's when you want to serve it. We want to put this in the oven for about 30 minutes. And then we will check on it, make sure it's done. Let me get these in the sink. Got a lot going on here today. We are going to get started on our egg strudel by mincing up some vegetables. I have here a red pepper. If you don't have red pepper, you could use green pepper. You could also use a roasted red pepper if you wanted to. I like to take a little knife, a little paring knife, and cut out that rib. Now you want to dice this kind of fine. We want it to be minced up. We're going to saute it, but you want it to be a little on the fine side. As much, I call for a half a cup, but you measure with your heart on this one. If you really like red pepper, put a little more in. If you don't like it as much, then you could change it to another color pepper or leave it out. You could use a green pepper. You could use a yellow pepper or an orange, whatever you like. You just want to dice these up. I hope my voice holds out for us. It's not looking real good. Excuse me. And take a sip of my drink. I'm a Diet Coke Zero fanatic. I love it. Then you want to add some zucchini. My favorite way to have scrambled eggs is sauteed a shallot, red pepper, and zucchini in my eggs, which is kind of what we're doing. We're just going to juice it up a little bit in a little bit of a puff pastry crust to make it pretty. Dice the zucchini approximately the same size, and you want, you know, a good amount. I want it to be about the same amount of red pepper and zucchini. I love zucchini. I find it delicious. I prefer zucchini over yellow squash myself, but to each his own. That's about the same amount. I don't think we'll add any more. Then you want some onion. If you have shallots, you could use a shallot. They're a little milder. I'm going to use some green onion. I am going to use both the green tops and the whites. Let me cut down the middle of that one's kind of he's a little fat. Let's dice him up a little bit more. And then we want to just mince it up. You want that little bit of an onion flavor. If you don't have any onion, you could use a regular onion if you wanted to. If you don't have any and you still want that flavor, you could add a little bit of garlic, or not garlic powder, but onion powder to it, and that would work. Use what you have in your home. And then finally, excuse me, we're going to need some parsley. We're going to need some, let me get that out of my way here. We're going to need some Italian parsley. I like the Italian. You've heard me say it many times before. I prefer the flat leaf Italian parsley over the curly parsley. This actually has flavor. I don't think the curly parsley has flavor. It's beautiful for decoration or garnishes, but this does both. So, and be careful when you're buying this in the grocery store, because this has actually happened to me, is why I'm warning you. Cilantro and parsley flat leaf parsley look a whole lot alike. So make sure you're getting the parsley instead of the cilantro. It'll say it on the little tag. I'm just going to get this put up, get my skillet on the stove, and when I come back, we'll saute these vegetables, and we will make the egg mixture to go inside our strudel. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, welcome back to the stove. In this skillet, I have a couple of tablespoons of butter that I have melted, and I have added a little bit of olive oil because the butter doesn't have a high burning temperature, whereas the olive oil will raise the cooking temperature and the butter will add flavor. So we're going to add all of our chopped veggies to our skillet. Let's turn that up just a little bit. And we are just going to let those saute because we don't want that raw. Now in this bowl, I have 8 eggs that I'm going to beat. If you have some heavy cream or half and half, you could add like maybe 2 tablespoons or so. It really does help make the eggs light and fluffy, but I don't have any today. And I don't call for it in the recipe, but sometimes when I make scrambled eggs, if I have heavy cream, I like to add a little bit because I do think it adds a tremendous amount of lightness to the eggs and makes them very just fluffy. I'm going to add some salt and pepper to my eggs, about probably a teaspoon or so of salt, maybe half a teaspoon of pepper. Okay, whisk that in. Just going to saute those up for just a minute. Let's go back over to the cutting board for just a second while those are doing their thing. Okay, let me move my parsley. Now, in the recipe today, we are going to be using some puff pastry. You buy this in the regular grocery store, in the freezer department, where you get your Cool Whip and the frozen pies and things like that. There are 2 sheets in this. We only need 1. I have let this thaw overnight in the fridge. I only need 1 sheet, so we'll just put the other one in the refrigerator and make something out of it. On your cutting board, you want to put a little tiny bit of flour, not a whole lot, just enough to keep the puff pastry from sticking. It will come like this and fold it in 3, and you want to gently unfold it. Okay, the only reason I put the flour down is to keep it from sticking to my cutting board. And you want to just lightly, and I'm sorry, I do mean lightly, roll out your puff pastry to kind of the seams. You want them to be more solidified so they don't come apart. You don't want it too much bigger. That's not the point of it. We're just sort of trying to make it, the seams, see how more cohesive they are together. Now, we're just going to let that go for a minute. Let's check on our veggies. One of my red peppers escaped. You don't need to go overboard because this is actually going to be going in the oven too. And next, we're going to add our egg. Well, let's add our parsley, because we're adding that for flavor. And then we're going to add our eggs to our mixture. And we're going to incorporate all of this together and cook the eggs. This goes very quickly. Now, if you did not want to put this in the pastry, you don't have to. You could just serve this as is. This is actually my favorite way to have scrambled eggs. I just love it with toast or berries or whatever else I'm having for breakfast. It's really good. Try just the eggs with the zucchini and onion or shallot and red pepper. Oh, it's so good. We're just cooking these. I turned down my temperature a little bit because I think eggs should be cooked low and slow. Okay, we're just wanting to set those eggs. Oops, come on you, get back in there. Please forgive my voice today. I just deal with the allergies like so many other people. Okay, that's it. We don't need to cook that anymore. Now that's very hot. So, put this to the side. Now, what we're going to do is put our puff pastry on a baking sheet that I have put a sheet of parchment paper on. Oops, see what? This is very delicate. I'll tell you what, let's do. This is also warm. These lights helped keep it warm. Just transfer it over to your sheet. All right. And then stir your egg mixture. And we're going to put the eggs down the center. If you have any left over, you can do two. And I think I will. I think I'll just use that other sheet and do another one because I have plenty of eggs. You don't want to overfill this. You need just a little tiny bit more up here. Take a sharp paring knife and lightly score your puff pastry about an inch apart. We're going to create kind of like a little braid, if you will. Okay. Do it on both sides, trying to keep it as even as possible. This is a beautiful recipe. This would be the perfect recipe for maybe like an Easter brunch, or Mother's Day would be delicious for you to make for your mom. Take your bottom pieces, fold them over, and kind of tuck in that bottom side. Take an egg, mix it with a little bit of water to kind of loosen it up. Whisk it together. This acts as a glue. Then take a little tiny bit of that just to kind of, to where you can fold that over and tuck in those sides. Do it on the top too. And then I'll show you what to do next. Just kind of seal it in is what you're doing. Okay, and then just take your pieces. I like to put a tiny bit of the egg wash right there and fold them over. Overlapping, and you're creating like a little braid is what you're doing. It just looks pretty. I'm a firm believer that you eat with your eyes. So you're encasing this in a beautiful puff pastry, and it really is very, very good. You know what, I'm gonna take a little shortcut here. Just do that. Let's see, that one was the last one, so we go over with that one. And then that one, then that one, and then that one. And then finally, oops, we didn't tuck that one in, did we? Let's undo those. I like it to look pretty. And then take that, and then that, and then that. And you've got a beautiful little package, if you will. Now take a little bit of the egg wash and brush over it. And that will help it to become golden and beautiful. You want to pop this in that 400-degree oven for about 30 minutes until the puff pastry is cooked through and it's golden and brown and delicious. So I'm going to take a quick break, clean up. I'll throw together the other one and pop it in the oven. And when I come back, we're going to make a very delicious fruit salsa to go on a salad. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, our egg strudels are in the oven, our Mexican quiche is in the oven, and now we're gonna make a salad with a fruit salsa topping on it. We'll get started on our dressing. In this bowl, I have about a cup of plain Greek yogurt. You could use any flavor. I would go with like a fruity flavor, but you could use any flavored yogurt if you want. I just really prefer just to kind of stick with the plain. I need a little bit of sugar, about a tablespoon, and a little bit of honey. And I need the, let me get my stuff moved here. I need the zest and the juice of 2 lemons. I like mine to be a little tangy. If you don't like tang, then you might want to kind of maybe do the juice of 1, but do zest your lemon. This is just a microplane, and I think it is one of the handiest little gadgets to have in your kitchen. The zest has so much flavor. All of those essential oils are in there, and that is a tremendous amount of flavor that you don't want to lose. So we're just going to zest these. I chose some strawberries, some pineapple, and some peaches. Now, if it is in season, use fresh pineapple, use fresh juicy peaches. If it's not, canned is fine. And if the strawberries don't look particularly good that day, use blueberries or raspberries or whatever you want. This fruit mixture can be interchanged to whatever you like. Now I'm going to juice these. These are nice and juicy. And notice I did roll them on my board because that loosens up that juice and you get more. And I do like my juicer, my lemon juicer. I use them all the time. I used to use a reamer, a wooden reamer, but you had to somehow get the seeds out. This juices it, you get every bit, and it catches the seeds. It's perfect. You could use it for limes. I'm using it for lemons today. You could use it, they even make them for oranges. They're bigger, and of course they're orange. They make them smaller and green, and that's for limes, but I just use my lemon one for limes too. It's fine. You don't need to buy another one just for that. If you have a garbage disposer, run those down your garbage disposer because that certainly does freshen it up. Now let's whisk our dressing together. And I'm going to add a few little poppy seeds. This is just a really, really good little dressing. And that's it. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. I have a bed of salad greens here. I just chose a mixture of, mixed greens. I have a can of pineapple chunks. Now, you don't really need the whole big can. You only need about a cup. So I'm going to put those in. And I did not get chunked canned pineapple, but this is 1 can. Peaches, this is 1 can of sliced peaches, so I'm just going to cut them up into chunks. You can buy the chunks. I love peaches. When they are in season, oh my goodness, I could eat them morning, noon, and night. When they are the kind that is drip down your chin, deliciousness, oh my goodness. Love them. That is my favorite fruit. When it's ripe. I don't want them hard. I want them soft and juicy. And I will eat them. Love them. All right, that's 1 can. I am going to use the whole can of peaches because I'm a huge peach fan. You use as much as you want. Again, you want to add some blueberries or raspberries, you go ahead. Now I have some strawberries here. These are beautiful and they smell good. Smell your strawberries in the store. If they don't smell like a strawberry in the container, they are not going to taste like a strawberry. Aaron will go with me sometimes to the grocery store. He's my grocery shopping buddy. And I'll say, let's go get some strawberries, and he'll pick them up. And he'll either say, yep, they smell like strawberries, we can get them, or he'll say, Mom, they don't smell like anything, we don't want them. So I'm like, you're exactly right. If they don't smell like a strawberry, they are not going to taste like a strawberry. Look at that big one. Wow. I actually prefer smaller strawberries, but it's okay. They all taste good when they're ripe. And we're just going to chop these up, and we're going to put the salad dressing, or we're going to put our salad dressing, in our fruit, and then put it over top of that and sprinkle it with some walnuts. I don't think you want to sit here and watch me chop some strawberries, so I'm going to take a quick break, finish this up. When I come back, everything will be done, and I'll show you our beautiful finished dishes. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, welcome back. Now everything is done. Here is our Mexican quiche. I'm just going to let it cool for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then you cut it into any shape that you want. I just decorated it with a little parsley. Here is our beautiful egg strudel. I suggest you let that cool for at least 5 minutes before you cut into it. But look how beautiful that is. It is so good. And that would be a great thing to make and put like maybe on a breakfast buffet board, because you could cut it into slices and let everybody help themselves. And on our salad, I kind of changed my mind. I did not pour the dressing in the fruit and mix it up. I wanted it to be pretty, so I just, laid my lettuce out, my salad mix, put the fruit on it, sprinkled it with a little bit of chopped up walnuts, and I just put the dressing in a separate little bowl, and I'll let everybody dress their own salads. You can, of course, drizzle this over the salad. I would not mix it until you're about ready to serve, because the lettuce, with any dressing, the lettuce will wilt. So I don't like to dress my salads till right before you're ready to serve. So here you go. Here are 3 easy dishes that you could make any day of the week for breakfast, lunch, brunch, or dinner. Thank you for joining with me, and I will see you next time on Everyday Manna.